Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everybody. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Latifatul al-khumairo. I'm from International Class of Mathematics Education 2018 in Universitas Negeri Semarang. In this occasion, I will explain about the concrete manipulative media that I create with the name is Siti, circle trigonometry. This media is used to help students understanding about the concept of trigonometry. This media also can be done by students in individually or in groups. Now, I will show you the materials that I need to create this media. There are three main materials. The first is board. This board is contain the result of trigonometric, and there are some trigonometric, sine, cosine, tangent, cosec, secant, and cotangent. For the next, I have a clock. This clock is not used again in my home, and this clock is used to measure the angle that will be calculated. And the last, I have three right triangle that used to determine the value of trigonometry. Okay, now let's see the simulation of the use of this media. Okay, I will explain once again about the materials that I need to create this media with the name is Siti, circle trigonometry. As I tell before, I have three main materials. For the first material, I have three triangle with some color in its side, and this triangle is used to determine the result of trigonometric by measure the length of each side that satisfied. And then I have a board that contains some value or numbers as the result of trigonometric, and there are some types of trigonometric: sine, cosine, tangent, cosec, secant, and cotangent. With sine is equals to green color divided by yellow color, and cosine equals to red color divided by yellow color, until etc., until cotangent equals to red color divided by green color. Each color will be used to put the result of trigonometric based on the length side of triangle that's satisfied. And the last materials, since we have the theme of manipulative is use the low-cost materials, so I use a clock which doesn't work again in my home. The form of this clock is a circle. So I give the name of this media is Siti, circle trigonometry. And suppose that this clock has radius 1 unit, and then I have the length of the clock in x-axis and in y-axis. There are some value, a half square root of 2, and a half square root of 3. And this clock is used to measure the angle of trigonometric that will be calculated. Okay, now let's see the simulation to use this media. First, you have to move the rope in this clock into the certain angle that will be calculated. And for example, if we want to calculate sine 30, then we move the rope into the 30 degrees. This is the 30 degrees in here. And then choose one of the triangle that's satisfied with 30 degrees. And we choose this one. Now, let's see the color in the board. And the color in the board is sine equals to green divided by yellow. In the triangle, we know that the length of green color is equals to a half. And then, we put a half in the board of trigonometry here. In here. A half, and we know that the length of yellow color in the triangle is equals to 1, since the radius of the circle is 1 unit. So we put 1 in here, and then we just calculate it. A half divided by 1 is equals to a half, right? So we know that the sine of 30 degrees is equals to a half. Now I will calculate the secant of 30 degrees. We know in the board of trigonometric, secant 30 degrees is equals to yellow divided by red. In the triangle, we know that yellow is equals to 1. So we put 1 in here. And the red color is a half square root of 3. Then we put a half square root of 3 in here. So we just calculate it and we get that 1 divided a half square root of 3 is equals to 2 square root of 3, right? So we can conclude that the secant of 30 degrees is equals to 2 square root of 3. And then I will calculate the tangent of 30 degrees. Similar, the degrees is 30. So the tangent of 30 degrees in the board is equals to green divided by red. So we look in the clock that green is equals to a half. So we put a half. We put a half in here. And then red is equals to a half square root of 3. We find a half square root of 3 in here. So we get that a half divided by a half square root of 3 is equals to 1/3 square root of 3. This. So we put in here. So we can conclude that the tangent of 30 degrees is equals to 1/3 square root of 3. Okay, now I will calculate the sine or the other trigonometric with the degrees is 120. So first we move the rub into the 120 degrees. 120 degrees is in here. So we choose one of the triangle that satisfied to 120 degrees. So I choose this triangle, and then I put this triangle in here. And then we look at the board of trigonometric. We know that sine is equals to green divided by yellow. From the triangle, we have that the length of the green side is equals to a half square root of 3. So we put a half square root of 3 in here. And yellow is equals to 1. So we put 1 in here. And then we just calculate it. A half square root of 3 divided by 1. So we get that a half square root of 3. We find a half square root of 3 and then put in here. So we can conclude that sine 120 degrees is equals to a half square root of 3. And now I will calculate the cosine of 120 degrees. We know that in the board of trigonometric, cosine is equals to red divided by yellow. In the triangle, red in here is equals to minus a half. So we put minus a half in here. And then we know that the length of yellow is equals to 1. So we put 1 in here. So we just calculate it. Minus a half divided by 1 is equals to minus a half, right? So we can conclude that cosine of 120 degrees is equals to minus a half. Then for the question is, what is the value of 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees? By using this media, you can find the value of each triangle. For example, for 0 degrees, we know that 0 degrees is in here, so we still put the rope in here, and we know that sine is equals to green divided by yellow. We know that the green is 0, right? And then yellow is equals to 1. So 0 divided by 1 is equals 0. So we know that the sine of 0 degrees is equals to 0. For the other degrees, in 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees is also similar way. Okay, I think it's enough from me. Hopefully, this media can be used by students easily. Thanks for your attention. I'm sorry if there are any mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.